What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Caesar and Otto's Deadly Christmas. So I have seen this movie before. I've actually seen all of the Caesar and Otto films. I haven't seen the short films. I've just seen their three feature-length films. And I actually did review one of the Caesar and Otto movies on the channel already. It's called Caesar and Otto's Summer Camp Massacre. So yeah, I reviewed that on the channel. But out of the three Caesar and Otto movies, to be honest, the last time I watched all these, Deadly Christmas was my favorite. And this is topical right now because of course it is, Christmas time, Christmas season, but also because the subject matter, this movie, so Caesar and Otto's Summer Camp Massacre was a parody or a spoof of the Sleepaway Camp franchise. This movie is a parody or a spoof of the Silent Night, Deadly Night franchise, which, that's topical right now because I literally just got done reviewing all 6 films in the franchise. So, this is a Silent Night, Deadly Night spoof, and out of all the 3 films, I think this is my favorite Caesar and Otto movie, and for what it is, I think it's pretty darn good. It's these movies, for people who don't know, they are very, very, very low budget, but I don't know. There's a charm to them that I really like. There's like this lightheartedness about them. They're just, I don't know. They're just kind of fun. They're light. And the way I look at these movies, they're almost like an inside joke that you have with your buddies. Like they like the subject matter, like the stuff that they're parodying. It's like niche stuff that only like hardcore horror fans would know. Like, if you walk down the street, a lot of people haven't seen all the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies, or they haven't seen every Sleepaway Camp movie, but like hardcore horror fans will get the references, they'll get the cameos, they'll get the jokes. So this whole series, it seems like kind of like that type of vibe, like an inside joke you have with your buddies. So I like that, they're parodying kind of more niche movies, and for me, I get all the jokes, and I'm a fan of the movies that they're parodying. So yeah, I like the Caesar and Otto movies overall. They're like I said, it is low budget. These movies do have a lot of flaws, but for what they are, like I said, they're pretty cool. So yeah, this one overall I thought was good. And now that I've given you all my overall opinion, I'm going to jump into a quick plot summary. So, early on in the movie, there's this crazed man who is wearing a Santa suit. He's this, crazed killer dressed as Santa. His name's Demian, and he's played by Darren Miller, who's Felissa Rose's husband in real life. Anyways, he he's this killer dressed as Santa Claus, and he gets a hold of Caesar and Otto's guest list for their Thanksgiving party, and he just starts killing all these people on the list, and he's trying to frame Caesar and Otto for the murder. So that is the basic plot summary. And before I get into some of my favorite standout funny moments, I'm just gonna go over like all the cameos. So you got Linnea Quigley's in this. You got Felissa Rose. Like I said, Darren Miller is in it. You got Brink Stevens, and then Lloyd Kaufman. So for a low budget effort, you have quite a few cameos, and like I said, these movies are for hardcore horror fans. Hardcore horror fans, hardcore slasher fans will get a kick out of seeing all these familiar faces. So quite a few cameos, quite a few people that I really like. So had to, had to mention that. So yeah, like I said, this is extremely low budget, but the fact that they got all those cameos was absolutely awesome. But anyways, now that I went over all the cameos, I'm gonna jump into some standout scenes. So they recreated the grandpa scene from Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Lloyd Kaufman, he plays the grandpa, and he's like, yeah, Santa gives good kids presents, but for all the kids that are bad, he punishes them, and he's like, he punishes them by cutting off their penis with a chainsaw. So I mean, that was absolutely hilarious. And yeah, like there's like this whole running theme where Caesar is afraid of Santa Claus throughout like the rest of the movie, and he thinks Santa Claus is gonna cut off his peen with a chainsaw. So that was great, and it's always great seeing Lloyd Kaufman. He's the president of Troma. I like quite a few Troma movies, so it's cool seeing him. That was like a hilarious spoof of that scene. There's this sequence that I liked where there's this gentleman who like he's at this like nurse's office, and he's talking about like he got his arms surgically reattached, and then like shortly after the killer like just cuts off both of his arms, and then he's running down the street, and he's trying to like flag down a car. He's like, I can't hitchhike, because he can't put his thumb up. And I just think it's funny how like the whole idea of him getting his arm surgically reattached is hilarious, and then they're just like immediately cut off after. So that was hilarious. And then yeah, like I said, he's trying to hitchhike. It's just like that's the type of comedy in this. It's real silly, lighthearted, goofy humor, but for the most part it works. And then Linnea Quigley, they recreated her kill from Silent Night, Deadly Night with the antlers. But it's funny, like so the character Demian, he comes in her office. She's like an agent in the movie, and she plays like a character that's like supposed to be like similar to herself in real life, but kind of like a heightened version where she's this slasher film actress who now she's like an agent, and Demian the killer comes in. He's like, oh, I'm such a big fan, can you recreate the scene? And she goes into like she gets so in depth. It's like, of course in the actual movie it's like she just gets impaled by some antlers. I mean, her performance was good, but there wasn't much to it. But in the movie, like she kind of makes fun of that, where she's like, yeah, I was like going full method, and I was envisioning that I was like a pig, and I had to like envision that I was an animal, and it was just so fun. Like it was hilarious because of course, like I said, there wasn't much to that performance. Not that it was bad in Silent Night, Deadly Night, but it's like she just got killed. Like she had to scream. That's it. But she was kind of like acting all like like all artsy fartsy, and like yeah, like acting like it was like way deeper than it was. So I thought that was funny. And then they did parody the Garbage Day sequence from Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 at the like way at the end of the movie, and it's just like they're like filming some like little film within the film, and Caesar is supposed to say Garbage Day, but he can't get his lines right. He's like, garbage, Arbor Day. So I like that they reference Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 as well, because I mean Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 is one of the best movies in the Silent Night, Deadly Night franchise. It's absolutely hilarious. It's iconic. I reference it at least 5 times a day. So that movie rules. Some of the other points that I have written down in my notes here, like I just went over all of the main like the standout comedic moments. So like some of the the other stuff that I have here on my notes, just general points, I kind of already went over, but I'll just reiterate. So yeah, I really like that, these Caesar and Otto films kind of, they parody more niche movies. There's not, like, what other movie out there is a parody of the Silent Night, Deadly Night films? And I'm glad that this exists. So yeah, also, just like a shout out, like I said, not all of the comedy worked in this, and there were some groaners. There were some of the jokes did fall flat, but overall, I feel like the comedy in this worked very well for the most part, and for like a low budget effort, the story was actually pretty darn good. There were some twists and turns, and yeah, it is just a parody, and they did recreate a lot of stuff, but there were like a lot of original ideas as well. So yeah, the story was definitely pretty serviceable. And just mentioning, I gotta mention some dislikes. So the dislikes are mainly related to the quality. So for people who don't know about this franchise, I mentioned this earlier, it is extremely low budget. So there's like really bad CGI, there's really cheap looking green screens, some of the transitions are really cheap looking. So and the overall like look of the film, like whatever camera they were using, of course they probably had like a couple $1,000 camera. Like, it's not just like some $800 camcorder, but it looked like it was just filmed on like a digital camcorder. Like, that's like it's not like they had like a $20,000 camera. So the look of the movie and a lot of the effects and all the technical stuff, it does look cheap and low budget, and it could hinder your experience. But overall, I liked what was going on screen, so it didn't like ruin my enjoyment. But that is a dislike that I had in this film and all the films in the franchise. But like I said, for what it is, I think this is a good movie. So in terms of a recommendation, I would recommend Caesar and Otto's Deadly Christmas. I think it's a fun little Christmas watch. I think it's a good little horror parody. Yeah, so and like I said, it's my favorite in the franchise. It's my favorite out of the 3 feature-length Caesar and Otto films. So yeah, I would recommend it. It's free on Tubi right now. It's only like an hour and 23 minutes. So yeah, if after I describe this movie, if you think it sounds interesting, I think it's worth checking out. So that has been my review of Caesar and Otto's Deadly Christmas. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.